Hi everyone. Good morning, I guess it is. Thank you all for coming to attend this session. It's an incredible honor to be presenting today. It's an incredible honor to be here at Dreamforce. I can't thank Salesforce enough for embracing what we call equality tech. And that's what we're focused on today is what we're calling the equality tech roadmap. And this is designed to be a high impact, fun, interactive session. We've only got 20 minutes and there's a lot to get through. So we're gonna kind of jump right in on it. But I, again, just want to thank everyone for coming. So here's kind of the conversation roadmap for today. I'm gonna quickly tell you my story, which is quite actually, I could spend the whole time just telling my story. But it'll spend about 3 or 4 minutes on my personal story. It sets the context for the rest of this conversation. And then we're going to give a quick little overview of my newest company called Translator. And then I'm going to kind of bring you behind the scenes of what we call the equality tech methodology, so you can understand how we're building product and how we're looking to change this space of diversity and inclusion. And then we're actually going to run an interactive workshop. So kind of dangerous to do live, but I live on the edge, so it'll be fun. But if you have a phone, you can actually participate along. I'm assuming everybody here has a phone because most of you are looking at them right this moment. Just kidding, hi. So it should be fun. There's a lot to get to. If there's any time for Q&A, we'll get to it. But I'll certainly be sticking around here. And then I have another session over in the Internet of Things Grove, which is a whole hour, which is actually just a more expanded version of this. But we'll have a lot more time. So I'm going to jump in here, and I'm going to show you this first picture. This is me at Dreamforce just 3 years ago, right? And you can tell by the picture that I was a little bit of a regular, for sure, but I really fit in, right? I kind of looked like a lot of the other people here that are wearing suits, because I was like one of the suits walking around. This is a picture of me right after, it was the first picture I posed for after we closed our Series A funding back in 2013. So we closed $3.5 million to take a company that I started in my basement as a little consulting shop to scale it, and took it from 30 employees to 50 employees, global customer base. We were a Salesforce ISV Silver partner, and that was a company that was an incredible ride. For me, and actually just got acquired about 6 months ago. Not the exit we were all looking for sure, because everybody thought LinkedIn was going to buy us for $500 million, but instead, actually, LinkedIn shut off the access to their APIs. This is a picture with my firstborn son, who is now 11. I have 2 other beautiful children, but this is back quite some time ago now. He was about 3 or 4 when we took this picture, so about 6 or 7 years ago. This is me right after I got engaged to my wife in front of the Philadelphia Art Museum. Incredible day and incredible picture. I still fondly remember very much that day. That's me actually doing the, I don't even know what it's called anymore. But that's me in college. So you can see I lived a sort of pretty typical frat bro life in college. This is me in high school, very much a laxer dude, sweet kind of bro. And here I am when I was just 8 years old. And I show these pictures here because normally I would tell a much longer story, but I'm trying to kind of, shortcut all this and help you all understand a little bit of the narrative, but also, so you all can imagine how sort of surprised and shocked my family was when I came out as a transgender woman. You can imagine how surprised and shocked my employees were, and my investors, and all of the communities around me, right? So, that was hard for them, but imagine, what this was like for me, right? So all of these years hiding my true identity, repressing who I am. There's a lot of pain in these pictures that we're not talking about right now. But as I came out as a transgender woman, as much as I prepared for that, prepared for what the world would bring to me, judgment, the looks, the fear of violence, the constant fear that I have to, I had to really prepare for, and I still have to prepare for every single day. When I wake up every morning, I have to get ready and say, what is the world going to bring to me when I walk through the Moscone Center, or I get on a subway, or I just go to the grocery store real quick. So it's a constant thing for me. And as much as I prepared for it, and as much as I have to prepare for it every single day, the thing that I could have never prepared for was how much this experience of coming out as trans would change me inside, right? Like what it would do to me and how it would change how I see the world. And the shortest and most simple way that I can explain this is that I felt the pain and the cold, hard sting and reality of bias, discrimination, and hatred for the first time as a cognitive 39-year-old. Prior to that, I lived my life, as a white man with access and privilege and resources. I had never had to think about my identity, not once. If you had asked me what the word identity meant, I would have looked at you funny and cross-eyed and think, are you talking about cybersecurity or fingerprints? I literally never had to think about my identity. And now my identity dictates everything I do every single day. And at first, I thought it was because the world hates me because I'm trans now, right? And I'd walk down the street and I'd hear nasty things and I'd know what's going on and I'd say, well, woe is me, I'm trans, I feel, and it was this horrible, horrible experience. And very quickly I realized it had nothing to do with me being trans, and it had everything to do with me not being at the center of power anymore, right? Starting to be on the outside of, on the margins. And really it's just about me being different, right? And I had never experienced that before. And I realized very quickly that most of the world, has to curate and hold and repress their identity in some way to show up, to be accepted by other people. And for me, that was my moment where I said, this is no longer acceptable. I'm not okay with this. And as a technologist and an entrepreneur, I decided to dedicate the rest of my life, all of my experience and my privilege, to building a company that is designed to spread empathy and equality. And that's what this business is. It's called Translator. And as I just said, we're on a mission to spread empathy and equality by building innovative tech-based diversity and inclusion products for businesses, schools, and government organizations and nonprofits of all sizes across the country and across the world. So we're just getting started. We are early. We're 10 months young as an organization, but we've got a lot of momentum and a lot of great talent on board and a lot of great customers that are very ready for this type of solution. So that's a little bit about the company. I'm now going to talk to you about our company vision. And I talk about this internally a lot. I say at Translator, we have double vision, right? We have our first vision, which is that the future of D&I, the future of diversity and inclusion, is data-driven, highly scalable, deeply integrated, easily measurable, and most importantly, fun and effective. Now, I don't know how many people in this room have been to a diversity and inclusion training, but they're usually not any of these things, right? Sometimes we have good ones. Most of the time, they're boring, they're ineffective, they're not measurable, and people are not happy with them. So that's kind of the path that we're on, is to very much change this space, which has seen almost no innovation in the last 25 years. Diversity and inclusion, the last innovation in diversity and inclusion, the last technical innovation was LMS, which a lot of people here probably don't even know what that stands for, that technology, so it's learning management software, right? Today, the most recent innovations in diversity and inclusion are ERGs, which are employee resource groups, and chief diversity officers, neither of which scale or are measurable. So that's the first part of our vision, is to really innovate in this space that's seen almost no innovation. The second part of our vision is what very much aligns with Salesforce, is equality for all. And we truly believe the thesis of this company is that we can actually attain this state through technology, and almost through technology only. And I'm not talking about equal resources for all. I'm talking about equal, people are treated equally, right? And the thesis is that through technology, we can help people realize that we're actually all the same, right? Everyone in this theater, everyone in this conference, we have more in common than we have not, right? We're more similar than we are different, right? And through technology, we believe at Translator that we can teach that. And our goal is to, really to create an equality virus, right? That is designed to go, right now we're working with corporations, but the long-term vision of this is to create a consumer product that everyone has access to, regardless of their privilege. So we need your help to do that. we can't do this ourselves. We are a for-profit for sure, but this is our mission, this is our vision and our mission. And now I'm going to tell you about the equality tech sort of methodology and framework. Right? So this is how we're going to market. It's the same play that I ran at my previous company. And basically what we're doing is we're leveraging like all of this research, all this decades of content, right? Written on YouTube. I mean, there's so much content out there about effective ways to teach empathy, and we're simply productizing it, right? So we're taking best-in-class subject matter experts and proven research to study and productize diversity and inclusion workflow. And that's the secret, it's the last word right there. We're studying and productizing diversity and inclusion workflow. And workflow is anything like point A to point B with a desired outcome. So in a diversity and inclusion training, workflow can be as simple as, I have a question and I need an answer, right? But the problem is that a lot of times in these types of trainings, people are afraid to ask the question. They don't want to be judged. Right? So they may or may not ever ask that question. So that's failed workflow in a diversity and inclusion training. So we're attacking this space, studying all the lowest hanging fruit, digitizing it, and over time, we're looking to actually take the entire function that used to be driven by classroom training and put it into a mobile phone. Right? A one-stop shop diversity, inclusion resource and training center. So that's kind of the secret behind this. And I'm going to show you our first 2 products that we've brought to market in just 10 months. Very much bootstrapped. We haven't raised a lot of money. If you know investors, we're looking for them. But this is our first product, and it's focused on diversity and inclusion training. I've already asked you this question, so I'll skip it. But what we've done is we've taken a modern approach to diversity and inclusion training, and we basically created an app that is for use in participation in the trainings. Our trainings themselves are narrative, they're theater style, they're fun, they're entertaining, they're story driven. The framework is a templated framework that we can apply on top of any curriculum. So it doesn't matter what the subject is. It could be race and gender in the workplace. It could be intersectionality. It could be microaggressions and unconscious bias. This framework fits over top of that. And lastly, it's designed to deliver the tools, the language, and the metrics both to the users and to management to actually make effective change. So I'm going to show you the first version that you can all play along. Before I do that, this was actually, I forgot I put the slide in here. So when I was talking to our product teams originally, I said, this is our competition, right? It's a piece of paper. And most diversity and inclusion trainings are based on exercises. They rely on paper. They rely on people raising their hands. They rely on people stepping forward if both their parents went to college, or stepping forward if they think the police will protect them if they're in trouble. Right? These exercises are designed to create the learning in a diversity and inclusion training, but they're full of problems. Right? They're perishable, they're not measurable, they're done on pieces of paper, they end up in the trash, I can't tell who's participating, and they otherize people. So they're very, very ineffective, but they work, right? There's some power in them. So I basically told the team, like, let's not just build technology for technology's sake, this is actually an effective tool. So we have to outsmart this piece of paper. And that first product is what I'm going to show you right now. So the way we're going to do that is everybody go to demo.translator.media on their phones. Right? It's demo.translator.media on your phone. There's no login required. There's also no .com in that. So it's demo.translator.media. And you should see a waiting page that looks like the one on the right. If you don't see it, if you could participate along with your neighbor, that would be great. So that's the basic format. It's completely 100% anonymous and permanently de-identified. And what I'm now going to do is I'm going to submerge you into a diversity and inclusion training that we could execute or another company could execute. So we're now in the training, right? And I'm going to skip in the training. It's going to feel like we're on skip. But this is a typical training format and agenda for our workshop. They all follow the 3 pillars of empathy. It's a proven methodology for empathy development. And we start off with self-awareness, right? Learning about ourselves. Then we move to context and strategies for dealing with diverse individuals we may not be familiar with. And then there's interaction and application. So right now in the training, we're still focused on self-awareness. So we're having a conversation where people are learning about their identity potentially for the first time. Right? I had never thought about my identity. So in that training, I would have been like, oh my God, I have an identity. Other people are like, yeah, I have an identity, right? So we're trying to sort of level set. We talk about our own identities, and then we move to talk about our identities in the context of community, which is what other people think about our identities. Not just about what we think, it's what other people put onto us, which allows for us to bring up the topic of stereotypes. Right? So now as a facilitator, I'm going to go first. I'm going to share a story about stereotypes, get people's brains thinking about stereotypes, and then we're going to go to the app. It's app time, not nap time, right? And you go to demo.translator.media, and now we're going to actually do a participatory exercise where everybody can participate. No one has to raise their hands. No one has to share their own vulnerability, and it's all shared with the group in this de-identified format. So now I'm going to actually bring you into the product. We're doing okay on time. It's a little tight. But you can see here, now this is the facilitator screen. So on your phones, you still have that landing page. Now watch your phones. I'm going to start the first exercise. So everybody's phones should have just updated. Okay? Good. Okay, I was like waiting for somebody to be like, okay, my phone updated. So now you put in the words that people stereotype onto you, and the UI is a little funny. You have to hit the plus button to keep adding more words, but add more words, right? And for me, one of the words that people stereotype onto me is that I'm a threat, right? And a lot of people look at me and they're like, you're a threat, right? Like they're like, no, I'm a threat, like somebody else, like some other person who may traditionally more look like a threat. And I'm like, actually, when I walk into an ice cream store with my kids, like people pull their children away from me, right? I'm a threat to their binary existence. I'm also stereotyped as a pervert. I'm stereotyped as sick. I'm stereotyped as not real, right? So those are the words that people put onto me. And right now, as a facilitator, I can see that we have 18 responses from the room. So I may or may not advance this, right? Because I know that people haven't been participating or that they have. Right, so it's really powerful for me as a facilitator. It's powerful for you because it's private, it's engaging, it's interactive. And then I could switch, and now I could say, now everybody put in the words to describe their authentic self. If they only knew me, they would know that I'm silly and loving and gentle. Right, so people could add a few words here. That would be super helpful. And the opportunity here, I mean, we did this actually, just a quick little story. We did this just a few weeks ago with 200 people in an audience, 4-hour training, right? And when we did this, in less than 3 minutes, we had 1,200 words captured, right? Which created this type of word crowd. If my demo could work. So you can see here, we're starting to see the beginning of a word cloud, right? And they're sized by the frequency and the number of times that it's said in the room. Then we could show you the authentic self, right? So we have a lot of funny people in the room. But imagine this with a whole room of people that have been working together for years and years, right? One of the people who was in that training was like, I've been working here and I thought that I knew everyone. I thought we were all the same. But I now realize that I need to be more conscious of how other people think that we see them, right? So very, very powerful group learning opportunity. So quickly, I'm going to switch to our last product, but before I do that, on the left-hand side, you can see these are all exercises that I could execute at any time. So I just changed your exercise to what we call a mood pulse, right? I can do things like word popcorn. All of these exercises here, we can build these on the fly. It's basically a content management system to develop quick exercises to deploy in these trainings. The result of this is data, and no one has ever seen data coming out of a diversity and inclusion workshop, right? So this came out of that 2-hour training. We haven't, put all the pretty graphs behind it. Oops. I don't know what just happened there. But you can see here that this is a groundbreaking innovation in the space of diversity and inclusion. So quickly, I'm going to show you our last product. Before I do that, the question I want to ask everybody is just to think about for a second, how much do difficult conversations cost your business every year? A lot. A lot. It's crazy, right? Even if you're a small business, a difficult conversation could easily cost you $100,000, right? Losing an employee was something that could have been avoided. So what we've done is we've built a product that's designed to give people real-time anonymous support for managing difficult conversations in the workplace. Okay, so right now it's integrated into Slack. We're launching into Salesforce in the next 2 months, hopefully a little bit sooner. It's human and AI powered, so it's humans and robots together, which is the best of both worlds. It's a voluntary employee benefit. And it's designed, again, to give the tools, language, and metrics to individuals and to management to be able to change their culture long-term and potentially address solutions right on the spot without getting HR involved, without getting bosses involved, without going to Facebook and complaining that you're getting mansplained again at work by this person, right? And it's really obvious that you work for X company, which is really bad for the employer brand. So that product we just launched, I'm super excited about it. It's in market, it's being used. We're taking new customers, so if you know anyone, let's do it. It's $1 per user per month. Super cheap, right? And this is a real live set of conversations that we've been having. So I would say, hi translator. I'm having a problem, if I could spell right, a problem with a coworker. Now, I probably won't have time to get into the whole demo here, but this type of conversation is designed to bring back frameworks. So they don't give us direct advice. They say, well, what would you like to do? And a lot of times people just want to vent more. They just want to be heard. They just got to say what's going on. And that oftentimes will get them back to work. But they may want to prepare to talk to that individual themselves. So we're going to give them a framework to say, this is how you do this. Don't do it in the heat of the moment. Pull them aside, right? Pull them into a quiet room, and then use this sort of, don't be accusatory, right? Own your experience. Like speak in I statements, right? When I experience this, it is a problem, right? Let them know it. So we give them the exact way to do it. We'll give them the language to go talk to HR. And the value of this system is not only to the individual, but the data on the backside, right? So this is now the first visibility an organization can have into its culture. So we're creating dashboards of authenticity, dashboards of trust, dashboards of empathy, right? And so you can now start to look at impact and say, well, that merger, actually you can see there's been a downward decline in everybody's engagement, right? So it's all de-identified, it's all completely private. And we've got, I know I'm done now, but we've got workflow built into this. We've got a whistleblowing feature that we've built for this to report people for harassment. It's got rules built into it so that it's not going to create false positives or one individual just can't do it. But imagine if somebody's harassing people in the workplace and you start to have multiple, it's the wisdom of the crowds, right? And that can help elevate it to HR. So we've got a lot to build here. We're playing a long game. We're thrilled about the relationship with Salesforce. I'd love to talk to all of you about how we can help your companies and any organizations that that could use these technologies. But we are going to be around for a long time, so we're really trying to take this space and flip it upside down. So thank you very much for your time today. It's been an incredible opportunity. I'll be here taking questions. I know they've got another crew coming up here, so they're trying to kick me off the stage, but thank you very much.